YouTube. What's up, baby? We're back once again. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and I want to talk about the season finale for American Horror Story, bro. Um, season 10, of course, episode 10, part 2 of the double feature, which was entitled Death Valley, and this episode was called The Future, the Future Perfect. I don't know if it's a typo or what, but I think it's called the Future Perfect, or maybe the Perfect Future. I'm not sure, bro. But anyways, bro, let's get into it. So, we had the beginning of the episode where in which we're still back in the black and white days. A lot of time skips, and I'm not gonna spoil everything. I'm just gonna point out the specifics that I feel like needs to be pointed out. If you guys seen it, you guys will know the rest. If you haven't, then if you would like to watch it, you can watch it and fill in the blanks. But for the first half of the episode, um, you know, you are seeing President Nixon, and he's basically kind of going crazy in a way, but because he's going crazy because of like everything that's going on with the aliens and stuff like that. And um Thor, the android, is basically he basically wants Nixon to be out of the presidency. So Nixon, being the hard head that he is, he's like, I don't care if the aliens want me to be out of here, I'm gonna stay. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing you can do. And then you have a scene where shows him, about to be probed pretty much, and the aliens are obviously like, we're not messing around, bro. Like either you get out of here, or we'll do some stuff to you. And then the next day he resigns. Um, we also got introduced to another type of alien on this episode, and it's the reptilians. So I can't believe they introduced the reptilians at the very end of the last episode of this season. To be honest, I would have loved to follow the reptilians for the whole 4 episodes, whether that's with these other aliens that that are here, or just the reptilians by themselves. But yeah, that sucks to know that they're quickly shown, and that was it. You had Ike. He ended up dying of old age, pretty much. His wife was, by him on his in the hospital, and they were watching TV, and he was like, man, like he pointed out that one of the Nixon's representatives was a reptilian to his wife, and she kind of didn't necessarily care. And it was sad because like he ended up passing away, and you already know that he didn't want to do this deal with the aliens, but he was forced to. And on his dying and on his dying bed, like he was able to realize like what was going to happen, you know, as far as like the aliens not really being for the humans. Like he knew that all along, and that does end up happening. But either way, he passes away. Thor came in for a second, and he was by his, Ike's wife, and he was telling him like, hey, Thor was like, hey, you don't have to die, bro. You can come back to the facility with us and live forever or whatever. But Ike was like, you know what, man, I've done so much wrong. Like, I deserve to die. And so he just wanted to die. And him dying right in front of his wife was like, if it's time for me to go, what I'm saying, like, make some little story or whatever, but I want to live forever. So I want to come with y'all. So that's what she does. She goes to the facility, and lives out her days in the same place that Calico is, and the other four friends is. But we don't know that until like the other part of the other portion of the story continues. Um, but basically, the the first half was just all it was just all set up for the I mean the second half pretty much. I mean it's not like it's just bro like I'm oh, let me wait let me say that for the end. There's not much to talk about like as far as the first half. It's just nothing was really necessary. Like you feel me? But all you need to know is that you know by the end of the first little black and white story, Ike's wife went to Area 51 with uh, the android Thor, and she's going to live out the rest of her days there. That's really all you need to know. So I'm gonna pick up for the second portion of the story, and we pick up like right where we left off. Um, I told you the two lovers. One of them ended up having their baby, and of course, when we pick up, we see the aftermath. The babies killed both, the lovers, and an alarm is going off throughout the facility, and so the soldiers are trying to. There's a death that was unwarranted, so they're trying to find out what was going on, and they track it down to the moon landing room, and they see the two lovers and they're dead, and they're trying to look for the baby. They can't find it. Then some slob drops from the ceiling, and the guy, one of the like soldiers looks up, and then the baby drops down on him, tentacles first, and it's like covering his face and basically eating away his face. And so the other soldiers see it going on, and they just shoot it. They shoot the guy up, and they shoot the baby up. And so after that, you have the hybrid lady, um, and she's like, "Yo, like, why were you guys so, like crazy with shooting? Why, you should have just. I don't care about your soldier, but you didn't need to shoot the baby or whatever." And she had said like this type of baby hasn't happened for a while, so we were trying to figure out the drawbacks of whatever, and you've already killed the specimen. Forget your soldier, but you killed our specimen. And the head of the little unit was like, you know, well, we were just trying to contain the situation, and it's not even about you know letting the specimen live or whatever. And he said something slick to her, and she basically was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." Like 5 seconds later, another squad comes in, and the guy that was talking to the hybrid lady, he's like, "What is it? What is We're squad A. What is squad B doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, they've been promoted." And then all of a sudden, the squad B kills squad A, and she leaves the room, and then that was it for that scene. Like I said, you find out that Ike's wife has been in this facility as well, even though we didn't see her to this episode. She hears the sirens going off, so of course she's wondering what's going on. She's asking the soldiers. They're not saying nothing to her. But then eventually one of the soldiers says, we had an unwarranted death, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. And she asks him more questions, but he doesn't answer her questions. So she takes it upon herself to figure out what's going on exactly. And so eventually, like I said, they just keep going back and forth with this time thing, this time jump thing. Um, Eventually, she ends up talking to the android Thor, and he ends up telling her that, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's back up a little bit. So the two girls, they ended up wanting to find out what happened to their friends as well. And so they went to go look for them, and they found them in the moon landing room. And as soon as they got there, and they saw everything that was happening, um, I can't remember if they were like going into pregnancy at that point, or if it was that the hybrid lady came and put them to sleep, and then they had their pregnancy afterwards. I can't remember what it was, but that all happened prior to the soldiers going into the moon landing room and finding, the guys there, and finding the dead bodies, and then killing the baby and stuff like that. That all happened after the two girls went to go look for their friends. So anyways, eventually the hybrid lady wakes them up, and they're both about to give birth, the two girls. So the black girl gives birth first, and I guess the hybrid lady's like, oh, this is not exactly what we wanted, so slice the neck, and then for some reason kills her as well. Then her other friend ends up having a baby, and it's the perfect specimen, right? But Shorty's just talking a whole bunch of crap to the hybrid uh, alien / human being, whatever you want to say. And so Shorty's like, you know what? Like, you gave birth to the perfect specimen, and we no longer need you. Our experiment is completely done. Cuts off the lady's head, and you're like, what? There's only one baby, bro. Like, how you gonna get to eventually what you want? They come in with this big old like ball, and it has like a little line, like a cable hanging from it, and it's basically like a machine or whatever. And so they stick it onto the girl's head, and then it like brings her body back to life and makes her pregnant once again. And so their thing is that they're gonna use the girl's body that created the perfect specimen, attached with that machine head, and they're gonna use it like a machine, you know, completely like a machine. And just every hour it's gonna be giving birth to the same type of alien, whether it's like the exact same type of baby, or if it's just, she just, every time she gives birth, it's just gonna be a perfect specimen. I don't know. Anyways, so now back to what I was saying. Ike's wife ends up talking to the android Thor, and he's like, yeah, we just had the perfect specimen, and basically our experiment is over. And then he lets her in on the fact that you know they're not gonna live with the humans. Like, they're gonna kill the rest of the humans off, and then the ones that will follow orders, they'll save or whatever. And he's telling her like, hey, don't worry, but you're good. You're good in my books, So, and he tries to touch her because they kind of fell in love. And he tries to touch her, and she backs away, and you can tell that she's completely regretting everything that she's done, because she knew that Ike knew that this was going to happen, and now she's seeing it, actually come to fruition. So, and she feels like a traitor to her race, because they're talking about extinguishing her race, so that the aliens can live there on Earth, you know. And then she's like, you know what? Also, I found out there's another alien race out here, reptilians. And he's like, yeah, no worries. We're going to live here with them. They're peaceful enough to live with, but you humans, you guys are vile. Like, you guys destroyed your own, planet. And why would we try to, make peace and live with something like that? So, she ends up freaking trying to, stop this from happening. The only way to stop this from happening, and you can't necessarily stop it from happening, but you can prevent what occurred, which was they had the perfect specimen and the perfect host for the specimen. You can prevent that from happening by killing them, and then maybe they have to start another 60 years or whatever until they get the perfect specimen and then the perfect vessel, for the specimen, whatever. So she comes up with this plan to, kill the baby, kill this perfect specimen, and to kill, um, the host. And so she tells it to Calico, and Calico is like, you know what, I'll go with you. Let's do it. She goes and then talks to the hybrid alien lady, and the alien lady, she acts like she doesn't know that the aliens plan to, eradicate human life, and then, they overtake the earth and everything like that. She's like, oh, that's what they plan on doing. So you're like, oh, okay, well, at least they'll have help from the, the hybrid lady, to not to stop all the aliens, because there's no way they can do that, but she can at least help them and assist them to kill the baby. That's the perfect specimen, and then the host, that was the perfect, host for the to have the baby. And so you're thinking that's gonna happen. All of a sudden, Ike's wife goes about to kill the baby. All of a sudden, the hybrid lady stops her, and she's like, "Yo, you really think that, like, I care that humanity's about to be destroyed? And do you really think that, I'm happy about being half human? Like, I hate the part of me that's half human." And I was like, bro, like, so she basically tricked the lady, blew her head up, and it's like, Calico, you have a decision to make. Either you're going to be like her, or you can stay with us and flourish. And so Calico's like, you know what, forget it, I'll stay here. And so the hybrid lady ends up saying, like, look, everything's set in motion. You've been here a long time pumping out babies for us. We finally got the perfect one. And because you've been here for so long, doing what we wanted you to do without no problems, we want you to be the mother of all these new perfect specimens that we, bring to life. So she just is going to be, a mother to them. And then it just ends. And so I was really looking forward to this Alien half of the season. I wanted to be longer than 4 episodes. Even Red Tide should have been longer than 6 episodes. They should have just had these stories be separate, because the whole thing was they were supposed to connect both stories, and they did not. They did not connect. They did not connect at all. So I'm not gonna blast this second part of the season just because the ending was so weak. The episodes before that, they were good. And even this episode was fairly good. It's just the ending was like, for both half of the stories, like in the past and the present, it didn't hit home at all. So for this episode, bro, I will say I respected being such a, like, it wasn't a happy ending. Majority, even though this is American Horror Story, majority of the seasons when they end it, there's a happy ending to it. And this didn't have one. It just was real simple, and it just didn't have one. So I'll give it credit for it being such a, evil ending, if you will, instead of like a nice one. I would have graded this episode like a 8.5 if the ending was right for both of the little sections, the present and the past section. But since the ending was so weak for both of those, I gotta give this a 7.5. So yeah, as you can see, man, I'm pretty disappointed in the way that this ended. But yeah, I mean, if you guys saw this whole season, if you guys saw this episode, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. But for me, it was alright, and I'll give this episode 7.5. Please comment, subscribe, share, and like if you will. This is Q's Insight. My name is Callie. Until next time.